Good morning. This is Mona, and this is my morning view. Today, Spring Edition 2026. It is Memory Monday. Memory Monday. So I had some thoughts over the weekend, and of course, didn't write them down, and don't remember them. But trying to work on the memory. All right. So, actually what I'm going to talk about today is something that just popped up. I was listening to a little bit of YouTube this morning, and there was a Bible story that I know very well. There's several Bible stories that I know very well that a lot of people don't know. They don't know these stories. And if you were to tell them, they would be in shock. And they're like, I thought the Bible was all about, good things and how to do life. And sometimes it was just telling us what happened. And then leaves it to us to grasp the understanding of what we should get out of it. Some of them are very harsh, hard stories. And you're like, well, why? Why all this? Well, one, because as human beings, we're corrupt. And so this story will show some of that in the sense that I'm bringing it to you is that God is our Avenger. God is our Avenger. I think of the Avengers, the Marvel Avengers, but the ultimate Avenger, the ultimate Avenger is the Lord. So the story goes back to the King of David and his sons, his daughter. So King David had a daughter named Tamar. Now, there's multiple women in the Bible named Tamar, and she's one of them. She is this beautiful, royal, virgin daughter that is protected and prized by her father. She's protected. She may have been barter for royalty. Because back in the day, you would arrange marriages between nations as a solidarity for some sort of covenant or treaty. But she was very, very beautiful. And the crown prince, Amnon, the oldest of the male children of David, therefore the next in line for the crown, took a liking to Tamar, his half-sister. It says that he loved her. But I can tell you straight out, he did not love her. Because love does not do what he did. Now, I got to try to keep it clean here. But basically, he was really distraught. He let this obsession of his half-sister get to him. He wanted her. And his cousin knew it. So his cousin came up and said, dude, why are you always so downcast? Why are you so, sulking around? And he's like, man, I love Tamar, but I can't get near her. Why? Because she's protected. He's like, dude, we got a plan here. So watch who you listen to. Those that stroke your thoughts. Be wary of those type of people. This is an individual that was cunning, and it wasn't in the sense of being able to come up with solutions. It was coming up with solutions no matter who it hurt or what the repercussions were. You want a solution? We got a solution for you. Oh, that kind of reminds me of The Little Mermaid, the Disney version, you know. I got a solution to you. Let's sell your soul to the devil, because that's basically who I am. You know? So anyways. So they made a plan to ask the king to have his sister come break bread for him, or make bread, not break, make bread for him, and then feed him with her hands, because he's just so weak. He's been so sick for so long that he's so weak that he needs, and not just anybody, but family. Family. I wanted family to come. Have Tamar come and make bread for me and feed me, and then I'll eat. So David, loving his son Amnon, after all, he's the favored one, he's the firstborn, he's the heir to the king, the crown prince. So he gets Tamar and has her come to make bread. So then when she goes to feed him the bread, he grabs her by the arm and he forces her. We'll just leave that at that. Yes, this is not the first time this has happened in this lineage, by the way. No. It happened with Jacob's daughter, Dinah. Reuben and a couple of the other brothers took it upon themselves for revenge. Didn't turn out well. Didn't turn out well. That was during Jacob's time. Other parts, it talks about things like this and doesn't turn out well. Not in the lineage, but multiple times in the Bible. So here we are with Tamar. She's trying to plead for her life. She knows what's about to happen, and she tries to tell him, look, this doesn't have to happen. This isn't the way of our people. This is not how we do things. Why don't we just go to the king and ask him for me to be your wife? Because I'm your half-sister. I'm not your full sister. And so it's not common, but it's not against the law. And he loves you, so he would grant it. Trying to preserve. Because she knew what was about to happen. That it would take everything from her. That was her. What she was known for. What she was... all her value. We have to be careful on where we lay our value in ourselves. We have to be careful of where we lay our value in ourselves. Because if at any time that one thing is taken away, then what do you have? You know, I valued my ability to do things. And when I got sick, that got taken away. It was not fully restored. There are certain things that sometimes cannot be fully restored. And for her, this would not be restored. That's taken. He didn't agree to that because he wanted it, and he wanted it now. Right now. So he had his way with her. Then, after it was done, he grew angry. He grew angry and he resented her because now he is blaming her for his wrongdoing. So, for his wrongdoing, he doesn't want to look at her anymore. So he bans her. She goes out completely distraught. Everybody knows what happened. But this is the crown prince, after all. She reaches for ashes. She tears what's left of her clothing. She goes straight to her brother, Absalom. So where's she going to go? She goes to Absalom, and he sees what happened, and he knows. He already knows that she'd been with Amnon. He knows what he did. And the anger rises up in him so bad and so bitter, so deep, that he doesn't show it. For 2 years, he does not show his anger towards Amnon. But he loved his sister. He loved her so much that he was going to take revenge for her. Because King David didn't do it. King David loved his son Amnon so much that he's like, it's better to protect the crown prince than to seek revenge or justice, rather. Justice, because he was the one that could decide what the fate was for the penalty. Now, personally, my thought was, for his crime, he should have been taken the crown prince title away from him and banished from the palace. It's like, that'll suit you. You're not going to be king. Have fun plowing the fields, shearing the sheep, doing whatever you can find your job to do, but you're not going to be involved in palace life. Because that's not how we are to act, being the rulers of this nation. Because this nation is a nation that follows God. And that is not the behavior that a king should have. That's my thought on it. That's my take on it. But David does nothing. He does nothing. And this really makes Absalom mad. Absalom is so mad that it goes deep. Deep bitterness. But first he has to avenge his sister, Tamar. Tamar at this point is devastated, desolate, a hollow shell of a human that it's like she's dead man walking. She's no longer alive, but her body hasn't realized it yet. And she spends the rest of her days that way. So 2 years have passed by, and Absalom has not said anything to Amnon. He hasn't said good, bad, indifferent. Just silence. Ignoring his existence. You're not present. And that's about it. Nothing. And then he invites all his siblings to a festival. A harvest festival. He invites them all to include Amnon, and Amnon accepts, where he drinks merrily. And Absalom had his servants at the ready. For when he was able to give the signal that they were going to take the life of Amnon. And so he let him drink and be merry and have a gay old time, not realizing anything. And when the matter had come, when the time had come, when he was so stupid from not being sober, that the servant struck. He was too drunk to defend himself. Everybody fled. Everybody fled because they didn't know who was next. Even Absalom fled because he knew the crime of killing the crown prince. So he fled to his grandfather's house. Grandfather was the king of another sovereign nation, where it was a place of sanctuary. It was a sanctuary state. So he fled there. Now, first, David got the word that they all had died, all of them, every single one of them. And then when the one that started the whole mess, the cousin, comes in and he goes, no, they didn't all die. It was just Absalom. Solidifying the cause. You know, Absalom, who did something to Absalom's sister that you didn't do anything about, took matters in his own hands and has taken care of the problem. Now, to me, I'm in this story and I'm like, good for you, Absalom. Yeah. Justice has been served. But revenge is not for us. This cost Absalom his family. He was in exile. He couldn't return. And it wasn't until King David's I don't know, maybe captain of the guard or something. I don't know his title. But he was close to King David. And he arranged for Absalom to come back, but not see King David. So Absalom came back, but he felt like he was still in exile, because what he wanted was his father's forgiveness. What he wanted was his father's acknowledgement to the whole mess, to Tamar. He wanted resolution for all of it. Eventually, he was able to see his father, only because he burnt down his father's friend's field and said, look, I want to see my dad and I want to see him now. And this is how serious I am. So when he came to the king, he humbled himself and fell down before the king. He was in complete humble state. His father didn't forgive him. He didn't even bring it up. He just gave him a kiss. Okay, you're reinstated. That's it. But this act of not addressing the problem ate at Absalom. So he found himself going to the city gates. He went to the city gates and he started having compassion for the people coming with grievances. He's like, if I was the judge, I'd give you resolution. I would give you justice. Undermining King David. He ended up undermining the crown. Now, eventually, that moves on into, of course, Absalom dying. eventually. We won't get into that part because what we're talking about today is Tamar and the situation with Tamar and how it escalated because it was not addressed. Problems that aren't addressed. Problems of having your identity wrapped up in one thing. Problems with bitterness getting deep into your heart. Problems with desires overcoming you. So when you're thinking about how does this story, what am I going to get out of this other than really angry for Tamar? Really angry at David's lack of concern. Really angry about justice not being served. And how many times do we find ourselves in those spots where justice is not being served? So we want to take it on our own to take care of the problem. To get restitution. When Tamar found out that Amnon was dead, it was bittersweet. It didn't give her back who she was. Justice was served in the sense that he was no longer there. But she was still not restored. If Absalom, I'm going to go past the killing of Amnon. Because I still am not totally settled that it was wrong. Just say, like I said, I would have left him stay alive, but taken away, stripped him of his title, stripped him of anything regarding the royal household, because you cannot have a king that just succumbs to his urges and does what he wants. If he's going to do that with family, what is he going to do to the rest of the people of the nation? You can't have that. I think had Absalom not gotten revenge for Tamar, that God would have weeded Amnon out. There is a way for Amnon not to have taken the crown. Probably by death. David's friend Jonathan did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong, yet he died in battle. He died in battle because he was the next one in line for the crown, but that's not who God wanted to be on the throne. Jonathan's father was the blame to that. Not God. Jonathan's father. Sin. His arrogance basically cost him his son. And the crown to come through the line of Saul instead of the line of David. So David was going to be king. And God would have made a way for Amnon to be avenged somehow, some way. Even if he would have become king. It changed the trajectory of everything. Because had Absalom not undermined his father, had he been that person to just come under and support his dad, that maybe the crown would have gone to him instead. And maybe that would have been honored, because David killed a man. David killed Uriah. God's forgiveness for the person whose heart is right is there. But Absalom had allowed bitterness to settle in and cause his heart to be hard. So we all know that Solomon ended up being king because, well, eventually, when you have a hard heart and you want to do it all yourself and you want to be the Avenger yourself, it doesn't always turn out the way you want it at the end. Seeking God to be our Avenger. Seeking God for His justice and His mercy. See, they left God. Tamar and Absalom left God out of the equation. They totally left God out of the equation. Tamar was desolate. Eventually, Absalom lost his life. All right. That's all I have for you. Got to get to work. Blessings, everybody. Have a great day. Make sure you go over to YouTube, Mona E. Harrison, different than than the Facebook profile, Mona E. Harrison. You'll see my white hair. You'll see my beautiful face. You'll know you're in the right spot. Subscribe, like, share, both on Facebook and on YouTube. And get all the bells and whistles. All right. Blessings, everybody. Thank you, Lyle, for watching. And I will catch you all tomorrow for Tips Tuesday. All right. Bye.